Hey guys, headed back north from Saratoga. I got a lot of road trip ahead of me. It's about 6:30 in the evening, and I'll make the ranch probably, I don't know, like 5 hours from now. Yeah, it's not too bad. But anyways, headed north. The corporations committee is finito for now. We got another one coming up in November. Went over a lot of big topics. We talked about the primary and the presidential election. We talked about net metering. We talked about whether credit unions can be a public depository or not. Really pretty fascinating stuff. You know, on the depository aspect, I came down on keeping it at just banks. My reasoning is kind of the elephant in the room for the committee, and the rest of the committee agreed with me on this, except for one person, but that's okay. The fact of the matter is banks pay sales tax, and credit unions do not. Credit unions are tax exempt in that regard. Now, they did state that they often do pay sales tax just to avoid the paperwork, but there's the deal. You know, I'm not a taxation guy, and you guys know that. But if we're talking about a public depository where taxpayer funds go, those are from taxes. Sorry about the mount again, guys. It is what it is. It's what I got for now. I'm going to have to upgrade. My buddy Dave Hurd suggested a good one, so I will be using that. Anyhow, so, you know, there's the deal. If you're taking public funds, which come from taxation, you should probably have some skin in the game, too. Still studying that issue, though. Net metering, we heard from the Outdoor Council, good outfit, and the Wyoming Outdoor Council really wanted us to change net metering laws to benefit users of solar, so that they could, and in a single area, have more than a 25 kilowatt setup that they could push back onto the grid and get paid for. Here's the deal on that, and this is where I kind of cut the line, or where I see it anyways. Net metering was meant for single household residential type places. So your house has got some solar panels on it. Net metering law says when you got some extra, you can push it back onto the grid and you get paid at a rate that you work out with your utility. That's fair, that's square. The way they wanted to amend the net metering law was so that commercial businesses could have larger, quite a bit larger, up to 500 kilowatt, which is a half a megawatt. I mean, we're talking generation now, that they could push back onto the grid and get paid for. Well, that's a commercial establishment at that point, and in my opinion, they don't qualify under the Net Metering Act as written, and the purpose of the Net Metering Act. That aspect being the case, I think there needs to be another act. You know, and I did think it was funny that they were essentially deeming, because the Net Metering Act specifically calls out and says that a person can qualify under this act. So essentially, they were stating that a corporation or a business entity could qualify as a person, and I thought that got dragged through the dirt enough in campaign finance. You guys probably remember quite a bit of the debate that existed around campaign finance and whether corporations can be considered an individual. So I thought that was different, but I'm of the opinion that if you want a different net metering act for corporations or businesses to be able to produce that amount, they've got to have more skin in the game than just getting paid for pushing money on the grid that, first of all, the utility didn't ask for. Second of all, the utility didn't build their grid with that amount of solar or that amount of extra generation being pushed onto the line. So that's why I asked for more skin in the game. Listen, you're gonna have to help upgrade a lot of these lines. You're talking about putting more load on the line, pushing more load down the line. Is that distribution setup capable? So there's my deal on that. We asked in the primary election process for the Democrat Party and the Republican Party, we asked that they sit down with their folks and get a plan together. We didn't have any bills or any legislation brought to us on how to change it, which ways they'd want it changed, anything like that. So, considering it was specifically the Democrat Party in this regard that wants to change from a caucus state to a primary state, we asked that they bring us some changes to statute that they would like to see for the November meeting. And I think that's fair. I think that's a good route to go. You know, it was a long couple of days. I always loved the Corporation Committee. It's ran well. Representative Zwanitzer out of Cheyenne and Senator Case out of Lander. They do a good job. And I don't know. I appreciate the amount of conversation we're allowed to have on bills. Yesterday we worked a little over 12 hours in committee. Today, a little over 10. So we definitely put in the work, put in the hours for what we're allowed to do on that committee. We're only allowed to meet 2 days. We stretch those 2 days out for you and discuss things thoroughly. I'm sure some of my other committee members wish I'd shut up a little bit. And I'm sorry, guys. I got constituents to represent here. Anyways, if you have any questions, and there's a lot more bills. We looked at 27 total bills. We looked at liquor licenses. We looked at all sorts of things. Got some interesting pieces of liquor law changes that are going to be coming in place. Interesting stuff, specifically regarding some of the statute that went in place after Prohibition. We're going to be getting rid of some of those statutes that are holdovers from Prohibition. So, if you guys have any questions or comments, want me to go further into something, I can do it, and I will do it. I'm going to do a big write-up for the papers back home. Sorry about the sunglasses, but it's just damn bright out. Yeah, seeing lots of windmills. What do you guys think of the wind tax? We got hit up pretty hard on the wind tax, even though our committee's not looking at that bill. That's the Revenue Committee looking at that next week in Buffalo. What do you guys think of the wind tax? The idea behind the wind tax is to put wind generation, put enough of a tax on them that they're basically on the same level playing field as coal. That's a thought. But it is another tax. We're raising taxes on generation. Lots of big projects that are going in place. So I'd really like to know your guys' thoughts and opinions. As you guys know, I'm a power guy, so it's something that I know pretty well. The generation aspect, the transmission aspect. But I want to know your guys' opinion. If you have any questions, thoughts, concerns, or you just want to kick me in the air or curse me out, I welcome it all. And until then, we'll talk to you later. Adios.